Chiron, the wounded healer, stations direct in Aries, December 29th, pulling focus on healing and higher guidance as we wrap up 2024. Hello, my name is Eliane Nicole. I'm your astrologer and tarot reader. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what it means that Chiron, the wounded healer, is stationing at 19 degrees Aries, December 29th. But first, I want to say, if you're watching this on Instagram, these are the last days of me posting the first 5 minutes of these YouTube videos on Instagram. For 2025, I'm moving this whole operation over to YouTube. I seem to get a lot more love on YouTube. Instagram doesn't really respond as well. I don't think it's necessarily the format for this. But if you are watching on Instagram, please make sure that you go over to YouTube and subscribe to that channel if you're interested in receiving my free astrological offerings in 2025. I will put a link in the profile bio of my Instagram to get there. There will be a link in the stories to get there. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Please hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Please like, please comment, please share. It helps me grow my business and my community and puts me in a position to continue to give these free astrological offerings. If you happen to be watching this on Instagram, please make sure that you follow astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole. Please like, please comment, please share. Again, this is the last days of me posting the first 5 minutes of my videos on Instagram. I'm going to try a whole new format for Instagram in 2025, but I will continue to have videos of all of the major planetary transits on my YouTube channel. And now, without further ado, I'm going to talk about Chiron, the wounded healer, stationing to go direct. And Chiron has been retrograde since July 26th of 2024. And so you may want to look to themes of what was going on in your life around, for some people, this is going to deal with physical health, or, injuries or sickness. But for others, this might have to do with emotional health, mental health, spiritual health. It can have to do with, relational wounds, professional wounds, financial wounds. And for some people, it can have to do with actual, damage that was done to property of some kind, whether that be your vehicle or your home. So the wounds that we are addressing vary for different people. And the people who have personal planets at 19 degrees, this will be a very personal transit for. If you do not have any personal planets at 19 degrees, this might be something that you are more observing in family, friends, co-workers, neighbors, people around you, or just something that you're reading about in the headlines, because it will be a transit that the collective is kind of somehow observing. And if you don't know whether you have any personal planets at 19 degrees in your chart, definitely contact me for a reading and we can get to know the degrees of all of the planets in your chart together. I love reading for people. I read on Zoom, so I can read for people anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. And it would be my pleasure to read for you. I think everybody should have their birth chart read at least once in your life, and astrology works best if you continue to get tune-ups every 3 months, every quarter or twice a year. You look at your transits and you really get into what your own astrological coding is. But to go on with this specific Chiron, so December 29th, Chiron is stationing, and as it stations, it is really going to pull focus on healing in some area of our lives for most people. And this could present itself as healing physical wounds, emotional wounds. It can also present a time of making amends or apologies, a time for forgiveness. These are all Chiron themes. And then in some cases, while Chiron is the wounded healer on one level, and so many doctors or therapists or readers really relate to this archetype, and people, that's really who Chiron represents, the wounded healer. Because usually people who are healers, they have wounds of their own that they've had to contend with that gives them that kind of sympathy and empathy and inclination to help others heal their wounds. And so it's definitely usually a personal transit to people who fulfill those roles in life. Therapists, doctors, readers, so healers of any kind. But Chiron is also the mentor. And so sometimes this stationing can deal with the mentor-mentee relationship as well. Now, as Chiron stations, even though as he moves forward, he's moving through healing and forgiveness and recovery and getting better, as he stations, it could irritate the wound. So it could emphasize the wound. For the collective, this is going to be the war wound. Aries deals with war. Aries deals with military. Aries deals with violence. Aries, is ruled by Mars. So we're dealing with the police, We're dealing with cuts, scrapes, rashes, blood, inflammation, the muscles. Aries also rules the head. So as Chiron stations, it could bring about, migraines for some people, headaches, again, inflammation, rashes, bowel irritation, all of that stuff. Again, it can irritate the wound as he's stationing because it's kind of feels like a drilling down. But recovery is the phase that's coming ahead over the next 6 months. Now, it affects different people differently. Like if you have any planets at 19 degrees, Sagittarius or Leo, the healing may be pretty immediate, But if you have any planets at 19 degrees of the cardinal signs like Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, or Libra, it could be that the wound is again further irritated right now. So it might flare up before it gets better, kind of thing. Or it's like, the doctor having to re-break the bone that didn't heal properly so that it can now heal in the right way. Sometimes with Aries, on the emotional wound or mental wound part, it can bring up, anger, irritation, bad tempers, Aries is a fire sign, so it has to do with that. Spiritually, it can have to do with the, identity wound, the I am wound, and understanding who we are. Whatever you say after I am comes into being. So it's a good time to practice very affirmative, I am affirmations, I am confident, I am strong, I am healthy, I am beautiful, I am successful, I am grateful, and then for people who have 19 degrees of the air signs, like Gemini or Aquarius, there is going to be an opportunity here for an opportunity to transmute a wound into a blessing, to transmute a wound into an asset of some kind. So, this stationing could bring about, it's a good time for apologies. It's a good time for making amends. It's a good time for forgiveness. And it's a good time to be of service to others who are currently dealing with wounds that you've already had experience healing from. As Chiron moves forward over the months, the Chiron energy it's felt very strongly as Chiron is stationing. And he'll be moving forward over the next 6 months through July in the direct motion, and he will start to cover new ground. But it becomes personal to people only when he's interacting with one of your personal planets. So you kind of have to follow his journey to see when the personal healing gets to you. Like between now to July, I think he'll go from where he is at 19 to like 27 degrees. So people who have planets, personal planets in those degrees of the cardinal signs, will be experiencing it in one way, and then people who have those planets in the fire signs will experience it another way. It's all about the geometry of Chiron in your own personal chart, how you will experience it. Sometimes he injures, sometimes he heals, depending on the angle that it hits you. But all of it, whether through the injury part is to develop deeper awareness around healing, and to sometimes it's to slow us down, to get into a more reflective place, and to teach us more about humility and empathy and sympathy and sharing what we've gone through with others. So this is what's going on with Chiron, and he's trying, as he stations, he's trying the waning moon in Sagittarius. It's heading to the new moon of Capricorn. And I'm going to do a whole separate video about the new moon of Capricorn, and I will talk about Chiron a little bit more in that video. So stay tuned for that video. And before I leave, I am going to do a little tarot pull about Chiron stationing and see what the cards have to say. We got the Four of Pentacles. So it's just like, let it go. Just let it go. It's the end of the year. 2024 has been a long, tough year for some people, but whatever it is, it's the end of the year. Let it go. Leave it in 2024. Move forward in 2025. Let it go, So, don't hold on to that shit, whatever it is. Excuse my language. All right, thank you for joining me. Stay tuned. I will be back soon with the new moon of Capricorn video, and I will put a link in the description below of how to book a reading with me. Great time to book a reading. 2025 is an exciting new year with lots of changes and lots of big new start energy. So let's look at where that's happening in your chart and how you can harness and wield that energy to make the most of it. And thank you for joining me. Bye.